Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for joining me. My name is Jaquab Ben Yisrael, Heavenly Father. Thank you for this opportunity. I pray you help me and bless anyone who will listen to this video and help them on their journey. Jehovah, I give my angels full authority to influence me, to use this time, to redeem this time to the absolute best possibility for myself and for my brethren who believe in you according to the OAHSPE Bible. Jehovah, in your name, I give thanks and praise. So let it be. All right. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jaquab Ben Yisrael, and welcome to my channel, a channel for faithists, a channel for the where I try to expose and talk about the OAHSPE Bible, the latest revelation from the Creator, whom the world calls God. And I want to begin by saying that I'm glad to report that I think that me and some of my brethren are really on the move, man. We are really on the move. I'm gonna try to get through let me get through the announcements first. Like I always do. Now here's a website where I want to encourage brethren to donate to. If you're led to donate money to any particular ministry, I want to offer this ministry right here. You can go to this website, and if you're led to, you can donate to this ministry here. The brother here that is the president of UFK, brother Dr. Glenn Kendall, is he has some big dreams, big projects, man. One of them is a youth ministry, a youth orphanage called Youth Haven. And he can use all the support that he can get. He can be contacted through this website here. And like I always do, I like to, here are the ministries that the Universal Faithists of Cosman, that's the name of the website, ministries that they have. They have a meditation service, a healing basket, and a Bible study, which I broadcast on YouTube every Wednesday. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be broadcasting this Wednesday because they have like a service they do every last Wednesday of the month. I think it is every last Wednesday of the month. And it's called a healing basket. I don't broadcast that. I might even start broadcasting that. I don't know. Depends. Right now, I'm just broadcasting the Bible study. I don't know if I'll be broadcasting this Wednesday, so we'll see. I don't know if they're doing a healing basket this Wednesday, so we'll see. If I'm not on, then you know they're doing a special service with the healing basket. So that's that. Here's the creed right here, where it's the for faithists, what we believe in. What is the faithist? We have faith in the all-person, the collective wisdom that is without gender. As faithists, we live by and follow these guidelines inspired by the OAHSPE Bible and the work of John Newbro. We understand that supremacy exists only in a weak, fearful mind. We strive to do good works in the Creator's name. We respect others' opinions and understanding and openness. As long as their opinions do not diminish or the dignity or free will of anyone. We're willing to accept differences from others with no bias. We treat others and ourselves with love and forgiveness. We are kind to our actions, whole being. We give others the freedom we all deserve. It's easy to demand free will, but it is challenging to allow others to exercise their free will. We are able to admit our mistakes, take responsibility for our actions with these guidelines in mind. It's easier to understand that the foundation of faithism is studying pursuit of Amrath and Ahiba. Amrath means divine forgiveness. Ahiba is unconditional love. For faithists, cultivation, Amrath and Ahiba are essential lessons on the path for soul growth. Many faithists adhere to a vegan diet to reduce suffering, but being vegan does not give anyone supremacy. All right. Now, in addition to the um, the ministry. Here is some brethren who, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the OAHSPE, here's the website where they'll send it to you for free. Here's the link. You send it to me an email. You tell them we want a one in a OAHSPE. Will you send one to me, please? And then they will, when they send it to you, there's an offer for you to also be sent Radiance Anthology. And it's a book. It looks just like the OAHSPE. It looks just like the OAHSPE. It's just like it's just a different title, and it's full of angel messages. And so these brothers, they operate for, like freely you've received, freely give, And in addition to that, here's another supplement to the OAHSPE. Supplement to the OAHSPE, the Unknown Many. You put it together. It's a 6-volume set, and it's meant to be a guide. Just you open it up, you flip to a subject that interests you. It shows you where it is in the OAHSPE, and then you just try. Hopefully, it'll spark you into getting into looking into more of the OAHSPE and beginning your spiritual journey. So that's that. Now, in the information box, I have different links for different ministries. You can check it out. One of the things I really been talking a lot about is the Books to Prison ministry. I found out about it recently, and I'm really sold. I am just really thrilled about. I'm sold. I am sold on it. So far, it's a good thing that brethren can do to help spread the light. It's called the Prison to Books Ministry, and I should have the link in there, along with other information in the comment section of the video of the channel. And so here's the 6-volume set. You get in touch with me, and I'll get, if I just ask you don't take advantage of me, and I'll get it out to you for free. If you're sincere and you want to really look at what the Creator is sharing in the world today that nobody really wants to know about, nobody really wants to care about. But if you're one of the few, the blessed, the chosen, and you feel led, it'd be my pleasure to send it to you free of charge. You can get it on Amazon though, if you want, and the price is cheap as it can go. Okay, now having said that, I want to find something. The name of the video is called Bad Charity, and I'm going to continue the OAHSPE translation of the Gospel of Thomas. I'm going to do sayings 11 to 30 if I have chance. Now, what I want to do before I begin, I want to talk about bad charity, something called bad charity. I got a lot that I want to talk about. I'm not going to be able to get it all in. And I want to find, let me see, where is it at? I clicked off of it by mistake, but I want to share an example of something that the world does. That there's a scripture in Proverbs where it says, there is a way that seemeth right unto man, but the end thereof is death. The end thereof is death. Now bear with me because I'm doing a little dancing on another screen here. I got to find this video that I just came across by mistake. And really, it wasn't by mistake. It's like anything that happens in my life, I try to share about, how I see the Creator in it. And matter of fact, now I'm glad I remember it. Before I get to this video here that I'm looking for right now, I want to share a little announcement with you brethren. I think that the Creator is giving me and some other brethren that I'm in ministry with, I think he's really given us some wisdom. I think the Creator is giving us wisdom. And the wisdom that I think he's given us is this. And I hope you brethren get excited about it. I hope you go, okay, I found the video. Okay. Now, I have recently, I have been sharing about how I put an ad in the Tucson newspaper, the Arizona newspaper here, a little ad trying to connect with other faithists in Arizona. And Also, I put an ad in the Cincinnati Enquirer, my hometown, in a effort to connect with other faithists. And Dr. Kendall is going to be in charge of the Cincinnati operation, if you want to call it that. Now, the announcement is this: just this morning, I was sitting here thinking, and I got it in my spirit, and I can collaborate it with Dr. Kendall, who incidentally is going to give us a message sometime in the near future on some mind-blowing study that he has done on the tetracts. And I really was able to persuade him to come on and do a presentation, and so he agreed, and he'll be on some point at some, I don't know when. He said he has to put it together, and when he puts it together, he'll notify me and I'll have him on. I want to get that. He gave me a little summary of it, and I told him I desperately wanted to get it down on video, because I believe that these ministries that brethren are doing, they're really for future generations. As you can see, it doesn't draw much attention. The ministries that myself and other brethren have, we don't draw much attention. We are pretty much flying under the radar, but it don't matter. It's all right. You know, we realize how the Creator works, and it's not up to us to try to seek fame or popularity or acclaim or fortune or anything like that. And I'm all for that. I agree totally with that. So anyway, he's going to come on and give the message on the study that he has done, and on the tetracts, and it's based on a secular study from this lady who she did a study in something called the banality of evil. It was very popular in the world, but it doesn't have a faithist slant on it. So anyway, as I was saying, the project is in collaboration with Dr. Kendall. We're going to put a full page ad, not just the little tiny ad that's in the paper right now. We're going to put a full page ad in the Cincinnati Enquirer, a full page ad. I mean, a full page ad trying to connect with other faithists in the area. And I wanted to put the offer out there to anybody who hears this video. If you want to join in financially, you can go to the website, make a donation, incognito. Nobody has to know. And if you feel led to help join, I think that the project, that's just the beginning. I think that is something that is going to spread, where we become more proactive, where we share the light with people who otherwise will not hear about it. We are going to pursue putting a full page ad in the Cincinnati Enquirer to start with, and then I think it's going to pick up from there. It's something any brother or sister can choose to do. To take a proactive approach to sharing the light, trying to connect with other faithists, let the world see our light. And so I'm excited about it. If you've ever seen a newspaper, a full page ad gets people's attention. That will, it's hard to miss that. Then you can make copies of it and then send it out. And so I think the Creator is giving us ideas now how we can be proactive, not to be stagnant, not to be just sitting and doing nothing. I think when we're on the earth, man, it's our time to shine and to redeem the time. And so I'm just proud to announce that there are brethren in our community who are on the move, man, and I'm just excited as can be about that idea. And I just don't know what, I just can't say enough good things about that idea, except that I hope other brethren and sisters pick up on it, and they get the idea to find ways to try to connect with, not to proselytize, not to try to convince anybody to come in and join us, but just to connect with other faiths so that we can be with one another, we can establish our own fellowship, then the Creator, He will take it from there. So I'm proud to announce that. And I hope you brethren are excited about that as well, to knowing that there are brethren who are trying to pick up the ball and trying to run with it. And so, all right, on that front, I wanted to say something real quick. Now, here on the screen, this is part of the reason why I put this title "Bad Charity" in the video. I named part of it "Bad Charity," and I came across this video, and I have a bad habit of saying by accident. It wasn't by accident, man. I really believe.
Hello.
I'm gonna turn the sound off because I don't want you to hear the audio. Now, here on the screen, here's a brother who he has a good heart, man. You know what I mean? He wants to give. He feels that he wants to be benevolent, and he goes and takes his money and he buys a bunch of food for the homeless, and he just gives it to them. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go to his site. Okay. Now look at the titles of his videos. 500 Whoppers for the homeless, feeding the homeless, 500 Baconators for the homeless, massive surf and turf for the homeless. Now, nobody can fault this brother. You can't fault him, man, for wanting to do what is right. Gourmet buffet for the homeless. You faiths already know what the problem is and all this. You already can see it. You already see what the problem is, don't you? Evidently, the brother's a chef, and he's into feeding. He's benevolent, got a benevolent heart, wants to do what's right, goes out, feeds the homeless on his own dime, But you already see the problem, don't you? I don't even have to say it. I'm not in the chat. I'm not looking at the chat. You already see the problem, don't you? It's obvious, ain't it? You see how Proverbs 14, I think it is. Remember the proverb, it says, there is a way that seemeth right unto man, but the end thereof is death. Proverbs 14. You already see the problem, don't you? Let me pull that verse up. I'm trying to find it. You already see the problem, right? He wants to do right. You can't fault him for that. The brother wants to do, nobody can fault him for that. There is a way which seemeth right unto man, but the end thereof is death. And so I don't even have to say, because you brethren already know what the problem is, right? The brother is feeding people less fortunate. Number one, he's feeding them a bunch of meat. That's number one. He's feeding them a whole bunch of meat. Number two, he's feeding the flesh, which only lasts for a day. 5 more hours from the time that he gets finished doing his good deed, they're going to be hungry again, right? And so I reached out to him and I told him, I begged him to pick up the OAHSPE and do a word study on charity. Because he means to do well. The brother, he means to, there's a way which seemeth right unto man, but the end thereof are the ways of death. And that's the world that we live in. People, they take it for granted. They know what righteousness, what righteous charity is. They just take it for granted. And so they don't realize that you could be doing more harm than good. So now if we looked at the OAHSPE and we did a little study on charity, then you would see this brother is doing some heavy devastation, some heavy spiritual devastation. Now I'm trying to switch screens here, and I can see why I don't want to let me. Or is it sharing this? Am I sharing this? Okay, it won't let me. For some reason, my computer wants to mess up, which is no surprise. Let me see. No surprise at all. Don't want me to share the screen. It tickles me to death, man. Okay, now I think. Let me see. Is it doing it now? Is it letting me share? Okay, yes. Now it's letting me do it. All right. Here's the OAHSPE, a study on charity. Now the brother again. Let me bring him up again. Look at all this work he's doing. Cooking 100 pounds of chili for the homeless. Cooking over 35 pounds of T-bone steak for the homeless. 135 pounds of beef stew for the homeless. Cooking 100 huge cheeseburgers for the, nobody can fault him, man, for wanting to do what's right. Matter of fact, that's to be commended. And we need more people in the world. You know what? That's faithism right there. Where we give for free. Faithist, a true faithist will give for free, man. He seeks to serve and give for free. But the problem is that he's ignorant. This guy here is ignorant, man. And he's doing more damage than good. And so I reached out to him. I begged him and said, man, look, man, I commend you for being benevolent like that and wanting to help people. That is the kingdom of God. But you need knowledge because you can be doing more damage than good. And the OAHSPE, I told him to do a word search on charity. And so I want to bring up what the Creator talks about when people do things, or when you do things without understanding, without knowledge. Now, there's a verse in here. Let me see. I think this is it right here. Let me see. I can read anything and it'll apply to what I'm talking about. But there's a good one here that talks about it talks about people like this guy here. It says, I want to find that. Let me see. You can just read these verses alone, man, and it really exposes the world. It really exposes the world we live in. Okay, here it is right here. I don't know what book this is in. It says, I have found of all charity that it has two great evils. First, it flatters him who gives, that he has done a good work, and this is an injury to his own soul. Second, charity injures the poor because it destroys manhood and gives good caste to a beggar. Even though this kingdom is filled with hospitals and houses of charity, it is not any less free from vagrants and helpless ones. And though you build 1,000 houses for the poor and feed them too, yet you will have just as many still unprovided for as when there was only one poor house. For the law is unalterable in heaven and earth, that whatever you nurse will grow. I posted that in my room on Facebook. Whatever you nurse will grow, man. And people will take advantage of charity. I was talking with a brother the other day, and I wholeheartedly believe in charity, but I don't believe in Christian charity anymore, where you just give and give and give, and you do it without discernment. You just give and give and give. Anybody asks you, you give and give. I don't believe that anymore. I believe in charity with discernment, man. because I realize, and the Creator does as well, that we live in a world where people will take advantage of you. I also declare to you an equally severe law, which is that if you do nothing to benefit the afflicted and distressed and helpless, you cannot escape the damnation of earth and heaven. To remedy which it devolves upon you to find a remedy in society itself, where there shall be no rich and no poor. Okay, and you can read that if you want. I forget which book it is, which book it's in. For it is also a law that where there are rich, there must be poor. Where there are masters, there must be servants. So, anyway, um, the another thing is what we all know, what faithists know: flesh eating, it lowers your spiritual density. It's like you want to rise, but you got a heavy weight on you spiritually. Flesh eating, meat eating, we all know what that does to our spiritual density. It makes us heavy spiritually to where we cannot rise. I can't fully understand it, but I believe it. Meat eating, it makes us heavy to lift. If that's so, if I could, put it vulgarly, if I could be vulgar like that, it makes us hard to lift. That's something faithists understand that the world doesn't. I don't have to. We all know about flesh eating, meat eating. We talk about that all the time, and what it does to your spirituality. See, the way is narrow. The way is Matthew 7. The road is very narrow, man. When you're talking about making the resurrection, it's no joke, man. So bad charity, and the Christianity is full of that, man. And that lets you know the seriousness of the darkness where we live. You as faithists, this is no joke, man. People think that the Creator, he'll understand, he knew I meant well. Yeah, and you're right, but he won't break his law. We go to whatever our spiritual density is. And the Creator, I look, when I first came into the OAHSPE, I looked all over the OAHSPE for loopholes so I could keep eating meat. I looked all over for that, There got to be a loophole somewhere, And I'm sorry, you can do the same thing, and you won't find no loopholes, man, You won't find any loopholes. The Creator, that's the thing that people need to really understand. He's not a Creator, is not a man where you can dupe him. How the world, they deceive one another. I also did a little study and pasted it on Facebook, how people deceive themselves. I wanted to talk about something else I think you brethren might find interesting too. One of the things I love about the OAHSPE is the Creator and how he feels about your individuality. He called us to be true individuals, man. We are not born to be cookie cutter faithists, meaning trying to be like somebody else, fit in with somebody else. See, in the kingdom, we all going to meet in the center, and we're going to be who we are. We carry our own flavor. Each one of you brethren, you carry your own flavor. You don't have to try to adopt after some other brother or leader or be like him or, mimic him or the Creator. That's not according to the Creator. One of the things about our faith and the what the Creator is teaching us, he wants faithists to be themselves, man. Individuality is in the OAHSPE. That's one of the major problems with the society, with the reality that we got people, they got no foundation. You don't even know how to be you. don't even know how to be you, don't know how to think, don't know what to do, don't know, you know. I think it's the most amazing thing. Matter of fact, it seemed like in this reality, it's built to take away your individuality, group thought, you're, you're castigated for being an individual, for thinking outside of the box. The creator, he never condemns anybody for that, you know. Individuality is in the OAHSPE, man. Look here, the definition of it. Individuality, man, is the unique combination of personality traits, beliefs, and life experiences that distinguish you from everybody else. You know, it encompasses your identity, your quirks, and personal preferences, empowering you to live authentically rather than conforming to societal expectations. See, in other words, an Aquarius, they're famous for individuality. You see how the creator, he gives you a little lesson and everybody teaches everybody's vibration. And what I mean is their zodiac sign. It teaches the world something. It teaches the world something unique about the creator. Every one of us have got a flavor, and we shouldn't try to stuff that. You know what I mean? We're not created to try to bury that. We're supposed to expand that. That's what the resurrection is. As we make the resurrection, as we go on, the creator is going to refine us. You, brethren, faithists, that's what it's all about. We're just at the beginning. We on the earth. It's the darkest place. It's where the Druges and false gods have the most power, the most sway. Creator, the earth, testing period to shape you, to strengthen your spirit, to breed, to implement the endurance in you, character, dignity, righteousness. The earth, the most friction is right here on the earth, man. That's why nothing ever go right. You look up, man, and the other shoe done dropped, You look around you. I looked at a study I was getting ready to say by mistake again. Well, what I mean is I don't know how I came across it, Matter of fact, I can show you yourself. I'm gonna get into individuality. Look what I found on the internet, man. I don't know how I even came across it. I think it was a news blurb. Check this out, man. Let me see. Where did I checked out this study here? I'm trying to think. It said there is a wide sense of dissatisfaction in the world today. Now, I think I was looking at news headlines and something came up like this. Whether it is true or not, I can't really say. I have to believe it. Global dissatisfaction is at a record high, with the latest World's Most Important Problem Report and World Happiness Report identifying economic pressures like the cost of living, stagnant wages, social media-induced loneliness as the primary drivers of this widespread discontent. And then it gives some other factors: economic strain, youth crisis, and, political polarization. The bottom line is global dissatisfaction. And I read another study, it said 75% of Americans say they are unhappy with the course, the way the world is going, government, corruption, and leadership, rulership. A little picture, man, of the world that we live in. Just a little picture, You see how desperately the world needs the light. They need the light, man, because when you're trying to find satisfaction in somebody else, you bound to be disappointed. When you got to look outside of yourself, you bound to be disappointed. That's why the creator, he teaching us about individuality. He teach you about individuality, man, you know, because when you get this, when you learn this, meaning learn who we are in the creator, then we become self-sufficient in our mind. We don't need drugs. We don't need alcohol. We don't need external pleasures. We don't need to be entertained. The creator is sufficient for all our needs. And we finding that out. You faith this, you brethren who meditate, who go inside yourself, you know, who seek out the silence communication that's you and the creator. We finding this out. You don't need no external stimulus. We need to be entertained. I need to hear some controversy so I can feel good. That ain't a faithist, man. The creator is teaching us he's teaching us that what's the good word? I'm trying to describe how we can be content with our situation, no matter where we are. Knowledge, it will help us to do that. Knowledge, learning of the creator. He says he's sufficient, man, meaning we don't have to be codependent on nobody else. We don't have to be codependent, man. When you begin to learn your individuality, I'm gonna do a study on this later on too. Individuality, man. Individuality. Look at some verses on it. To develop these four entities is, what book is this? Book of Licca? Escra. Book of Escra. Let me see. Am I sharing the screen? Okay, good. To develop these four entities is resurrection toward him. What four entities? What four entities is to resurrect toward Jehovah? What are they? Life, motion, individuality. In proof of which he gave to you life, motion, individuality, person. To develop these four entities is resurrection toward him. More and more, which is heavenly. Life, motion, individuality, and person. He gave you life, motion, individuality, person. To develop these four entities is resurrection towards him. More and more, which is heavenly. To neglect or pervert them is to go away from him, which is declension, which can lead to entire destruction. You think this is for real? If a shark stopped moving, let me see if this is true. I heard that, but I don't know if it's true. Is it true? If a shark stops moving, it will die? No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. It says whether a shark will die from stopping, it depends on the species. About half of shark species, such as a nurse, a tiger shark, or reef sharks, can pump water over their gills while stationary using their cheek muscles. However, species that rely on ram ventilation, like great whites and mako sharks, must keep swimming to breathe and will suffocate if they stop. So they got to force that water through their gills. A great white, and a mako shark. Great white and mako sharks They got to keep it moving in order to live. Great white and mako sharks. They got to keep it moving in order to live, you know? So it's the same way with the OAHSPE. It's the same way with the OAHSPE. Faith has got to keep it moving, because if you don't, you stagnate. To neglect them or pervert them is to go away from him, which is declension, which can lead to entire destruction. No man can be life for another. I thought that was interesting because it should make sense, man. I mean, in this reality, another man doesn't, you can't, another, well, I was going to say, one man can't work for another man's paycheck. In other words, you do the work and, somebody, I can't use that analogy though, but I wanted to make the point that we can't take somebody else's place. If, you know what I mean? It led me to think about Jesus Christ when I read this. No man can be life for another. And the analogy, it should be the same in the world we live in. No man can be life for another. I'm talking about individuality, man. I don't think it gets talked about enough. Individuality, how we are not called to be cookie cutter human beings, if you know what I mean. We are called to learn who we are, to grow in what we are. And in that way, we glorify the Creator. And the Creator, he does things in the OAHSPE, like he talks about the glory of the heavens, talks about how one day is better than the day before. We can't even imagine that. More glorious than the day before. So if creation is constantly being created, even as we speak, that means the Creator, he can cause that type of unending, what's a good word for? He can bring about the unending newness of all things. I mean, the unending, I don't know how to describe it, where one day is not like the one before it, and more glorious and better. Remember in the OAHSPE, it talks about his creation in the Ethereal realms, how you can go 1,000,000 years and not see half of the glory of it. No man can be life for another man, nor motion, nor individuality, nor person for another. For himself and to himself, Jehovah has created man with these, your individuality, man. Nor can any of the gods, however exalted, give or take away these things. Your individuality. And that's what the world is trying to do. Take away people's individuality is frowned upon, in the sense that people are taught to get in line, toe the line, don't rock the boat. I mean, not like you need to rock the boat, but the emphasis is on losing yourself and becoming part of the masses. In other words, to be unidentical from one or another. Nor can any of the gods, however exalted, give or take away any of these things. What things? Your life. Well, they can take away your life, but talking about your individuality, your emotion, your individuality, your person. Only the Creator can give us those things. Only the Creator, life, motion, individuality, and person. The importance of our individuality. Zacchaeus said, to inspire others to purity first and then to attain individuality. We supposed to learn really. That's why even the Jesus of the New Testament said to know thyself. Know thyself, man, knowing yourself. And then we could tap into who we are, we could tap into who we are. We don't have to subscribe to there's certain ways that people like to be treated, there's a way that you can, it's okay to want to be treated a certain way, the creator seems to say, hey man, it's okay. I made you that way. There's a certain way you like to be. Some people say tomato, some say tomato. He has a realm for each of us, according to our spirit, according to our grade, according to our likes, according to our dislikes, It's ultimate fairness, man. Our individuality. Creator inspires us to be full individuals and not to subscribe to religion and cookie cutter Christianity or anything else, man. Any other religion which seeks to take away individuality, man. That's an Aquarius. That's where Aquarius has got people beat. Because they're known for individuality, known for being outside of the box, known for being quirky, known for being weird, known for walking to the beat of their own drum, It's something that we can all learn from Aquarius, to learn to tap into and that causes us we can stand on our own, because can't nobody take from us, can't nobody give to us. I mean, they can give, you learn that? You learn that, man. You don't need nobody. I mean, it's nice to have people who inspire, who encourage, who lift you up. But once you lay that foundation of your individuality in the creator, you are as solid as a rock, man. You don't have to cater to other people. As long as you're coming from the standpoint of the OAHSPE and righteousness, a faithist doesn't need to apologize to anybody. If we're already coming from a standpoint of wanting to do right, wanting to serve, wanting to love, wanting to obey and listen to the creator, they don't have to apologize to anybody for anything when they are trying to be a light wherever they go. That's something the world doesn't, Zacchaeus said to inspire others to purity first and then to attain individuality. It has been said from time without end that to help the poor, to give to them, to serve them is good works done to others. But I say to you, this is only halfway to that which is good, where you should not only help them, but go and teach them how to help themselves. This is doing good to others. That's where the OAHSPE comes in. Share the light, figure out a way, just like you say in the Bible. Does a man light a bushel basket and put it, what does it say? Who lights a candle and puts it under a bushel basket or something like that? Who does that? What, donate to Universal Faith to OAHSPE, man, for what we're getting ready to do. Pick up on putting an ad in your paper and connect with other faithists, man. When I just have big dreams for a full page ad, man. I hope that gets the party started, man. I had big dreams for Tucson, that the party could get started here, meaning the explosion of light go out from Tucson. I went down to University of Arizona and they dashed all my dreams. They didn't really dash it, But I thought, man, it was going to be an explosion, university, open-minded people, open to new things, new light, Nope. The institutions of the world are perfectly insulated against the light. You think false gods are fools? think they're going to just hand over their kingdom? Behold, my body was given to me for my own use and profit, to establish and develop my own soul to eternal happiness and individuality. So let's get a little context. Let's see, whatever I can attain, it shall be my own. It is wiser for me to attain, to know, and to do. Nope, let's go a little further up. Man has said, I will not be a seer, prophet, suist, or sergeant. Frankly, I will not have angels to teach me. I will not have angels with me to teach me or to give me any light or knowledge under the sun. Whatever I can attain, it shall be my own. It is easier for me to attain, to know, and to do things by myself than have angels come and give to me or manifest through me. In fact, I will not be used by man or angel, for it would be prostituting my flesh and my spirit to others. Behold, my body was given to me for my own use and profit, to establish and develop my own soul to eternal happiness and individuality. My presence is alike to all people, says Jehovah. I am to the just and to the unjust. I am everywhere, both in darkness and in light. Because you are in darkness, you do not perceive me. Because you are imperfect in flesh and spirit, you deny me. Because you are confounded with disharmony, you do not believe in me. He who does not have an ear for music does not discover a tune, just as he who is discordant denies my person. Now, see, this strikes me right here. The brother here feeds people, man, and we live in a world, people do outward works like that, there was a lot of brethren, they talk about the minister of wellness and how he's got the orphanage and, dealing with orphans and everything, which is it's great. That's the highest thing that you can do. The brother is not a faithist, man. Is not a faithist. And then you share about a brother who is a faithist and he gets no support. The brother over at Universal Faith, brother Dr. Kendall. And I'm amazed, man. I'm amazed at my own brethren. I'm amazed, man. You run and support a brother who does not subscribe to the OAHSPE. I approached him. The brother bit my head off. Cannot hear it, does not subscribe to it, And then a brother who does cannot get even his own brethren to help him, to support him. I don't get it, man. Sometimes that's why individuality is important. It's important to do this walk. You can't look to other brethren to have the same ideas and the same inclinations as you may have. As I'm talking about faithists, man. He's doing a good work. A lot of people, they more than likely love this guy for what he's doing, man. In the world, he has a good name, but he doesn't know the spiritual damage that he is doing. The Creator said that charity, there's a good charity and there's a bad charity, man. He said that a lot of the world, they love to do it because just like I was trying to find a verse where the Creator, he says that when people who do it, it make them feel good about that they've done a good work. They do it for carnal reasons. It lasts for a moment, man. You feed the flesh. The world looks at it like, man, that's really one great dude, because that type of charity is rare in the world where people will put themselves out. It's rare where people will put themselves out like that. But the problem is the lack of knowledge, man. It's the lack of knowledge. That's another thing. It just blows my mind, man. The lack of knowledge. So the brother, I reached out to him, and if somebody doesn't connect with him, The Creator doesn't bring him into this knowledge. He'll keep on going. He'll feel great about himself. Other people will praise him, who he's feeding that meat to. They'll love him, and man, you're really a good dude, and congratulate him and everything, and keep up the good work. And then the time will come, man, he will see that he helped to lower the spiritual grade of all these people. That is the seriousness of the OAHSPE, man. People place more emphasis on ministering to the body than the spirit. Place more emphasis on ministering to the body than to the spirit. All right, so I'm coming to the top of the hour. It's time for the study on the OAHSPE translation. The OAHSPE translations of the Gospel of Thomas, saying number 10 to 30. So individuality, man. Let's look at one more verse on individuality. It says, those of the world's people, this is a footnote, I think. Those of the world's people have a habit and culture of encouraging what they term self-esteem. And where they really mean confidence in one's ability, it is well. And where they really mean acknowledging and allowing consideration for one's own perception and individuality, as opposed to having them subdued or oppressed, is also well. So this is he says the danger is when this leads or encourages preference or prejudice for one's own self, what we just got finished talking about. See, that's the world charity. A lot of world charity, man, it puffs up the person, the giver. It lowers his own grade. It lowers the grade of the receiver. Like this brother here, making these free meals for people. People will take advantage of that. It won't help them to resurrect themselves. It will teach them dependency, and the Creator is not for that. How would you like it if you had a child? You know what I mean? You see where I'm going? And there are lots of parents, they have children, man, and their children never grow. They grow up thinking that they'll always just depend on somebody else. Become like a leech, man. You just depend on somebody. You depend on somebody else. You always counting on somebody else, man, to bail you out, to help you out, to provide for you, Charity, how charity can be the worst thing. The danger, talking about charity, it's our lack of individuality. The danger is when this leads or encourages, meaning talking about how individuality is treated. It's dangerous when this leads or encourages preference or prejudice for one's own self or the self of another, instead of preference for the highest light. Say you have people who prefer to be with their own. Faithists do. I do. I prefer to be with other faithists. I don't like dealing with the Uzzians, the world. I sincerely, honestly, I don't like being around people under that spirit. The Uzzian spirit, can't hear the light, don't want to know, that beast kingdom realm, low spiritual grade. I personally do not like to be around people like that. I think when you're talking about the OAHSPE, one of the big reasons that we rejoice that we came into the light, because the Creator says that's not our future. Like goes to like. Even in the world, you see people, they move to communities where they feel safe. They feel there's a nice neighborhood, people they like, they hopefully is people who like to associate with one another, help one another. We all want to go there, all want to live there. You don't want to be. Now, the strange thing that I remember, I used to move deliberately to neighborhoods where I knew there was high crime because I wanted to be around other Black people. I was younger, and that was foolish reasoning. Everywhere I moved at one point, Sacramento and Bay Area, I looked for those places to go to because I wanted to be around my own kind. You know, I was in Sacramento, gunshots every night, you know, and I wanted to be there, you know. I feel differently now. I would like to be with people who are making a resurrection, man, you know, competent people, so people, smart people, people who like to associate, people who like to help you, they like to build you up, they like to forgive you, they like to talk with you, they like to, you know, they believe in the creator, they believe in sharing, they believe in not holding grudges, they believe in forgiving and forgetting, you know. You don't I to me, I read the OAHSPE, it sounds like that's talking about the Ethereal realms, you know. That's where I want to go there, man, you know? I believe that reality really exists. I don't want to be around toxic brethren, you know, they, you know, fight with you, put you down, can't stand your guts, man. And, you know, everything is a competition. And I don't like that, man. I don't prefer to be around it either, you know? The danger when individuality is treated or encouraged as preference or prejudice for one's own self or self of another instead of preference for the highest light. The preference for the highest light benefits everybody. Everybody. Accordingly, the opposite of self esteem, as expressed in this covenant, would seem to be humbleness and self abnegation. So, evidently, they were identifying the individuality of the world as opposed to the individuality of the OAHSPE, which is the opposite of the world. The world teaches self-esteem. Okay, so it's saying the world's people have a habit and culture of encouraging what they call self-esteem, and then he harmonizes that with definition of individuality, how they have a harmful esteem and individuality. But faithism, it has a positive self-esteem. It's a positive self-esteem because it leads to you looking at your brethren. You look at you feel like you can't live, man, without being of some benefit, some service to your brother, you know. And that's where the motion comes in that we read about earlier, I think in the book of Esther, where the creator said, talked about his four attributes: life, person, motion, and the other thing I forget. It's like you feel like you can't even live, man. It seems like the more I read about the OAHSPE and the Ethereans, and it's like they have to be busy about trying to be a benefit to other brethren. That's the whole thing about the OAHSPE. That's the whole, I mean, the big picture. Anyway, top of the hour, it's time to get to the study. The study is on the OAHSPE translation. The OAHSPE translation of the Gospel of Thomas. And let's see, last week, I think I left off at saying number 10. Saying number 10, Gospel of Thomas. And so I'm going to pick up with saying number 11. This is the translation of the Gospel of Thomas. I didn't get that. Could you try again? The translation of the Gospel of Thomas. And let's do some house cleaning real quick here before I begin, so I can unclutter my screen so I don't mess up. Let's get rid of let's unclutter some stuff here. Okay, good enough. Is it on the screen? Yep, it is. All right, so let's pick up. The OAHSPE translations of the Gospel of Thomas. We left off last week at saying number 10. But we pick up with saying number 11. And I should Gospel of Thomas Index. I should show the index of the Gospel of Thomas so that we can see what I'm going to be covering. Now, it's 114 sayings in the Gospel of Thomas. I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. I ain't going to spend a whole lot of time looking for it. Okay, I don't think I'm going to be able to find it. I'm looking for it has a summary of the index. I'm not gonna get caught up trying to look for it. It's just a summary of the index of the things we're going to be looking at. So anyway, it's 114 sayings total. We're at verse 11, saying 11. It says, Jesus said, the heaven will pass away. Now, it refers to Jesus, and I don't believe in the historical New Testament Jesus. When we read Jesus said this or that, I believe the historical Jesus was really Joshua or OAHSPE Joshua, where the narrative of Jesus Christ came from. I believe the narrative of Jesus Christ came from the life of Joshua. So I don't want to make anybody stumble by saying Jesus, 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 as if I believe he existed. I don't, but I believe his spirit did. And so when I say Jesus this, Jesus that, I'm referring to the spirit really of Joshua, because there's good, the Jesus of the Bible, he shows you righteousness and unrighteousness for our learning. And so I am focusing on what is righteous about what he showed, how he was used, and the things he said and the things he did. In this case, Gospel of Thomas is extra biblical. It was found after the New Testament, 1945. It was very popular because of the extra biblical sayings that it talked about that most people didn't know about at the time. Verse 11, Jesus said, this heaven will pass away and the one above it will pass away. The dead are not alive and the living will not die. In the days when you consume what is dead, you made it what is alive. When you come to dwell in the light, what will you do? On the day when you were one, you became two. But when you became two, what will you do? The OAHSPE parallel. This complex saying aligns closely with OAHSPE's cosmology of cycles, resurrection, and the dual nature of man. When it says this heaven will pass away and the one above it will pass away, OAHSPE teaches that all heavens and atmosphere, even ethereal regions, are subject to cycles. Lower heavens dissolve or change during Danha transitions. Nothing corporeal or semi-corporeal is eternal except the Creator. When it says the dead are not alive and the living will not die, the dead, meaning those in spiritual darkness, bound by materialism, are not truly alive. The living, those quickened by Jehovah's light, transcend death. Their spirit continues in resurrection without the second death of ignorance. When it says, in the days when you consumed what is dead, you made it what is alive. This echoes OAHSPE's view on transformation. By consuming, meaning overcoming lower dead things, meaning your animal nature, darkness and old doctrines, through purity and labor, we turn them into living light. The soul literally raises the dead within itself and others into life. Now, this interesting statement here, where it says the soul literally raises the dead within itself and others to life. You know what that means? Do you, brother, know what that means? it talks about, the OAHSPE talks about how each of us have druges on us. Druges, spirits from the lower realms who come and inhabit mortals on the earth. They leave the earth, they come back, they inhabit them. We each have druges that either we rule over them or they rule over us. And that explains why you have people who they are faithists and they trying to figure out a good way to put it. They do not they don't reflect the lower nature. They're not dominated by the lower nature. They're not dominated by the desires of the flesh, the animal nature. They do not subscribe to, they're able to break the power of religion. That's them ruling over their druges. They're able to exercise self-mastery, to reject the impulses, most of the impulses of the flesh, to lash out, to seek revenge, to shed somebody's blood, materialism, flesh eating. That's them. That's a faithist ruling over their druge, raising them from the dead, resurrecting them. When it says, when you come to dwell in the light, what will you do? This is a direct challenge in OAHSPE. Once in the higher light, the soul, there it is again, must labor, 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 help others rise, co-create, serve Jehovah. Dwelling in light is not passive, it's active guardianship. That's why, again, I want to take the opportunity, brethren, support the ministry. Support the ministry if you can, through prayer, through financial donation, Universal Faith to Sakosman. Support the brethren, support them any way that you can think of, Brother Nazarene, he's doing an incredible, the brother travels the country spreading his index cards. Whatever you do, man, at least redeem the time, man. The Creator, let us not deceive ourselves if we are faithists, man. Let's be proactive. Be proactive, man, or support brethren who are trying to be proactive to increase the knowledge of the light, I think that ad in the paper is a fantastic idea. Any one of us can do it. A little form of outreach, not to proselytize, but to connect with other faiths. We live in a reality that's dangerous, man. This reality here where we live, it is dangerous. Why? Because of the effect of Christianity, which teach people to just keep to themselves, in a sense, just worry about your own self, to just, not, stop, just, what's a good word for, keep your faith to yourself, keep your whatever to yourself, that's the vibration of the earth. Dwelling in the light is not passive, it's active guardianship. People don't like to hear that. That's why the OAHSPE is not popular. Because religion, people do not like to get out of their comfort zone. And when you come with the light, people can sniff it right away that anytime you even touch on the subject of the Creator, people sense that they're going to be called to break with their comfort zone. And you're better off trying to break concrete with your bare hands than to get people to come out of their comfort zone for their own betterment, for their own, even for their own advantage. That's where we live. On the day that you were one, you became two. But when you became two, what will you do? This matches OAHSPE's teaching on duality. At quickening, the soul is one with Jehovah. In incarnation, it becomes a dual spirit, corpor. The journey is to reunite the two into oneness, resurrection. When divided, what will you choose, the upward path or the lower? In OAHSPE, this is the eternal question of every grade. Will you reunite the dual self in light or remain divided in darkness? Well, it says, on the day you were one, you became two. But when you become two, what will you do? Meaning, at quickening, the soul is one with Jehovah. And then we became spirit and corporal, spirit and physical. And our journey is to reunite the two of them, to become one again, in a sense. And now that we're in this situation, what will we choose, the upward path or the lower path? Will you reunite the dual self in light or remain divided in darkness? It's a hell of a saying, hell of it's a hell of a saying right there. Question, hell of a question. Gospel of Thomas saying number 12, the disciples said to Jesus, we know that you will depart from us. Who will be our leader? Jesus said to them, wherever you are to go to James the Just, for whose sake heaven and earth came into being. OAHSPE parallel. OAHSPE does not name James the Just specifically in this context, but the teaching resonates with its emphasis on righteous leadership, succession, and the one who lives by the light. The disciples' question reflects the common human desire for an external leader after the teacher departs. Jesus' answer points to James the Just, the righteous one, as the true successor, not because of blood or appointment, but because of his purity and alignment with the Creator. In OAHSPE terms, heaven and earth exist for the sake of the righteous who serve Jehovah selflessly. OAHSPE repeatedly teaches that true leaders are not self-appointed or hereditary, but those who embody the highest grade, the just who labor for others without seeking power. After a great teacher or cycle ends, leadership passes to the one who lives the light most purely. In the broader OAHSPE view, no single person is the permanent leader. All are called to become co-workers with Jehovah. The James the Just figure represents the humble righteous soul through whom the kingdom continues. The one for whose sake the whole system of creation exists, to raise up souls. This saying warns against clinging to personalities and instead points to the living example of justice and light as the true guide. Saying number 13, Jesus said to his disciples, compare me to someone, and I will tell you whom I am like. Simon Peter said, you are like a righteous angel. Matthew said, you are like a wise philosopher. Thomas said, my mouth is wholly incapable of saying whom you are like. Jesus said, I am not your master. Because you have drunk, you have become intoxicated from the bubbling spring which I have measured out. And he took him and withdrew and told him 3 things. When Thomas returned to his companions, they asked him, "What did Jesus say to you?" Thomas said to them, "If I tell you one of the things which he told me, you will pick up stones and throw them at me. A fire will come out of the stones and burn you up." Now, I want to ask anyone listening to the video, what do you think that means? And can you give a contemporary picture of this, of what it's saying right here? Can you give a contemporary picture? I can. I think I can. Let me say, if I went to a Christian and said that the creator, he condemns the worship of any deity or intermediaries like Jesus Christ, what do you think will happen to me? You know, stones are equal to words. They will pick up stones and they will throw them at you. Now, I've had that happen literally. And well, not stones, but where you present the light as delicately, as softly, as diplomatically as you can, and it still don't work, man. People will still, they will pick up words and they will throw them at you. But a fire comes out of the faiths and burns them up, meaning, in my own words, it will transform them. It will purge the filth, the dross, that it will clean them up. Now, that's me. That's me just digressing, speculating. Now let's see what this says. It's saying, OAHSPE parallel. This saying captures the ineffability of the highest light and the personal, intimate nature of true revelation. Themes central to OAHSPE. The disciples' comparisons show limited understanding. Righteous angel, wise philosopher. Thomas' silence acknowledges that the fullness of Jehovah, or the Christ Spirit, notice it says the Christ Spirit. I can live with that. The Christ Spirit, the Joshua Spirit, it cannot be fully captured in words. Jesus' response, "I am not your master," aligns perfectly with OAHSPE. Jehovah alone is the ever-present. No man or angel is the permanent master. Teachers point to the source. I would love to have a Christian answer that question. No, they would probably get out of that. They could probably get out of that. They would say only the Father is your master. So they could get out of that, You could twist them up pretty bad, though. But wait a minute. He who cometh to the Father has to come through the Son. No man cometh to the Father but through the Son. So wait a minute, You could just tie them up day and night, man. The bubbling spring is Jehovah's direct inspiration that Jesus talked about here. Because you have drunk, you have become intoxicated from the bubbling spring, which I have measured out, meaning his wisdom, his knowledge. The bubbling spring is Jehovah's direct inspiration, the living water of light that intoxicates, overwhelms with joy and light. The soul who drinks deeply. That's why I testify that this is true. I testify. I can't testify to spiritual things much, at least not like other brethren can. Other brethren, they can testify of going to Yatante, the spiritual realm, leaving their body, and I can't do that. But this is one thing I testify is true, man. When you set your soul to drink deeply of the light, meditate, think, pray, you can get overwhelmed with joy and light. And you need that in order to endure in the world. We need we constantly need to to take in the light, the inspiration that will come. It will certainly come upon you when you leave the world, in the sense that you set yourself, you um you go to quiet yourself. You just shut out everything around you. I'm telling you the truth, man. It's one of the few things I can testify is really, really true, because the earth, every single day, there's enough opposition. There is some vexation to counterbalance the joy and light that the creator, that he gives you. Except that the joy and the light, it overpowers the vexations, the afflictions of the earth. It overpowers the creator, the light, the inspiration. It overpowers the earth. And that's what it just keep you going. Now, part of the saying, it said the private, what Jesus said in the saying here, in verse 13, I'll call it. It said the private three things and Thomas' warning reflect the higher revelations are often too bright for the unprepared, and sharing them prematurely can cause rejection, anger, stones, or destructive backlash. And that's one thing that amazes me, man, about the OAHSPE. I mean, this is also true as well, man. This is so true. See, Jesus said, he took him who was Thomas, and he withdrew and told him three things. When Thomas returned to his companions, they asked him, what did Jesus say to you? See, they weren't ready for what Jesus told Thomas here. Even the disciples were not ready. It's the same way in our day today. It's the same way for a faithist, man. It's the same way for a faithist. We cannot go to our brethren, the Christians, or really anybody else. If they're not ready, man, it could have some pretty disastrous results. Thomas said, if I tell you one of the things which he told me, you will pick up stones and throw them at me. A fire will come out of the stones and burn you up. And so we read down here, the private three things and Thomas' warning reflect the higher revelations are often too bright for the unprepared, and sharing them prematurely can cause rejection. Look here, anger, described here as stones, or destructive backlash. In OAHSPE, this is the essence of faithism. The essence of faithism, direct personal communion with Jehovah beyond all masters and creeds. Some truths are guarded for those ready, because the fire of cosmic light can burn those still in darkness. Some truths are guarded for those ready. So you, brethren, are to look at yourself when it's saying stuff like, you were ready. We are ready. We were ready, man, for the light. At one point, I wasn't ready, and I heard it. That brother said, Yaikwab, he said, man, I tried to share with you back in like 2019, and you weren't ready. You didn't hear it. My time hadn't come. My time didn't come until like, what year is this? 2023, I think. My time had not come. I'm glad it came. I'm glad I did not leave the earth before finding the light. And I hope you, brethren, feel the same way, man. I hope you feel the same way every day, man. This saying beautifully illustrates the movement from external teachers to inner bubbling spring of the all person. I'm telling you, the inner bubbling, that is real, man. The inner bubbling, man. If you set yourself, you quiet yourself. I love it. My favorite time is at night. Most times I get visited. A lot of times I don't. And man, I'm telling you, you're being visited. The joy and the light, it comes on you, and you need that in order to deal with the red star, the earth, to be recharged like that. It keeps you going. Verse number 15, Gospel of Thomas. Jesus said, when you see one who was not born of woman, prostrate yourselves on your faces and worship him. That one is your Father. OAHSPE parallel. This saying points to the direct divine source beyond earthly birth, a concept that resonates deeply with OAHSPE's cosmology. One who was not born of a woman. In OAHSPE, this evokes Jehovah, the ever-present creator. Although the creator is father, mother, you know. Oh, okay, it even says it here. I beat it to it. In OAHSPE, this evokes Jehovah, the ever-present creator, who is uncreated and not born through mortal means. Jehovah is the true father, mother of all spirits, the source from which every new spirit is quickened at conception, yet who himself has no beginning. Prostrate yourselves and worship him. That one is your Father. That means OAHSPE teaches that the highest worship is direct to Jehovah alone, not to angels, saviors, or created beings. When one receives the all-person, the uncreated light behind all creation, the proper response is reverent awe and self-surrender. All other fathers, earthly religions, or angelic are secondary. I wouldn't even say secondary. They're put away. Put away, man. All other fathers, see, he said, that one is your Father. When you finally see the one who was born, not born of a woman, that's talking about when you come into enlightenment. When you come into the light, man, when you come into the knowledge of the OAHSPE, and you see the one who is not born a woman, one of the ways you should be able to see it is the witness in your spirit. There should be some type of witness in your spirit that lets you know that you crossed over, that you have finally crossed over. I could be wrong, but that's what happened to me when Brother Maine, y'all remember him? Brother Maine, he had his YouTube ministry. You know, the brother, he used to read from all kinds of spiritual books. Brother Maine, he was the brother that used to say in his videos, Shalom, 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 shalom. You know, had a real peaceful aura about him, you know. I got him on the phone and thanked him. I thanked him, man, for sharing the light, man. You know, it could have easily passed me by, and I never have found it. I called him and I thanked him, man. He's not ministering anymore. Or maybe, I hope he's just taking a break, but he's been gone a long time now. And I don't know if he even fully subscribes to the OAHSPE. You know, I got him on the phone and he gave a witness to other things, and I was disappointed, but I wasn't disappointed because I know everybody's time is going to come. But I thanked him profusely, man. You know, when you come into the light and you should get a witness in your spirit that you have contacted the one who is not born of a woman, because of the words, the way the creator, he tells you about yourself. He tells you about the spirit in man. It's undeniable. And immediately the light should come on, and it just darkens everything else that you have heard and been told before. That's what this verse means right here. And it broke me from religion, for which I am eternally grateful, man. When you see one who is not born of woman, prostrate yourselves and worship him. Give thanks, man. Give thanks. That one is your Father. You see why the Gospel of Thomas was unpopular with Christianity? Because they can't explain this. They can They can conjecture it. Prostrate yourselves, man. Be thankful. Worship him, the one that is your Father. Jehovah alone, direct communion. That should even make sense, man. We basically are sitting up here telling anyone who will listen, hey, the time is up, man. The Creator, he's saying come directly to him now. You don't have to go to any intermediaries. And people they won't let go. They will not let go, man. It should make sense. How would you like it, man, if your girlfriend said to you, before you can talk to me, go talk to my other male friend over there, and then he'll come to me and you know what I mean? An intermediary to talk to somebody who you should be able to talk directly to. You know what I mean? It don't even make no sense, man. You know? Your child have to go through your neighbor to talk to your own dad, you know? Your own mom, man. You got to go first get permission from the neighbor. The neighbor's got to go to your mom, and then your mom says to the neighbor, permission granted. The neighbor go back to you, and then you go to talk to, you know, is that not the most stupidest thing you ever heard of in your life? The Creator saying the same thing, man. The time for intermediaries is over with, man. Bring my children straight to me, you know? That's all he's saying. Bring them straight to me, man, you know? This aligns with OAHSPE's rejection of intermediary worship, and it's called to recognize Jehovah as the sole true parent. The soul that truly sees the Creator bows in humility and rises as a son or daughter in full inheritance. How do you like that, man? It also hints at the mystery of the high ethereal beings, or the Christ spirit that manifests without ordinary birth. But the ultimate reference is to the ever present one, talking about how we're born, me and you. We didn't copulate with anybody. We were born in the spirit. A faithist is born in the spirit, man. You know, it's a mystery. It's just like the virgin birth. You know, one day we were in the world, and the next day we was in the light, man. You know, that's man. It's a mystery. It's a mystery. One day we were locked into religion. The next day we were out and into the light. We had come out. We got exposed to the light. We came out. We were born again, man, into the light. Saying number 16, verse 16, Jesus said, men think perhaps that it is peace which I have come to cast upon the world. They do not know that it is dissension which I have come to cast upon the earth. Fire, sword, war. Where there will be 5 in a house, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. The father against the son against the father, and they will stand solitary. The meaning in the OAHSPE. This saying captures the disruptive nature of true light entering a darkened world. How do you like that? A major theme in OAHSPE. Is that not the truth? The disruptive nature of true light entering a darkened world. The disruptive nature of true light entering a darkened world. How do you like that? The disruptive nature of true light coming into the world. He said, it is dissension, fire, sword, and war that I came. OAHSPE teaches that coming of higher light, meaning the cosmic revelation, ethereal host, does not bring immediate outer peace. Instead, it stirs conflict, old systems, false gods, selfish habits, darkness resists the new order, both within ourselves and in the world, you know. This fire purifies the sword, divides truth from error, and war is the inner and outer struggle during cycle transitions. So you got to be able to see right there that is the truth, man. The light, the disruptive nature of the light, man. He said there will be 5 in a house, 3 against 2, 2 against 3. The meaning is this reflects how the light splits families, societies, and even the individual, meaning the house of the soul. The higher nature wars against the lower. The awakened stand solitary. That's Euphrates, alone in their grade, amid opposition. That's where we are right now. We stand solitary, meaning we are in the world. There is opposition all around. No one can hear what we are talking about. The old ways are being torn down and people don't like it. They sense that when they look at you and you have a vibration of a threat to their comfort zone, and they do not like that. They do not like it, man. If you think the light is not real, you know, you got another thing coming, man. You know, it will split families, split societies. That's why the Creator, I'm convinced, man, he puts this light in vessels that will not break. If the Creator, if he chose you to come into this light, he telling you something about yourself you don't even know about yourself. You know, he telling you, you might not think you nothing, but you able to hold this light that I'm gonna give you. You able to hold it, you know. All this time you were sitting up there thinking you ain't worth nothing, you know, you ain't nothing. You ain't never been nothing. You ain't no good. And then the Creator come and choose. He come and he he come and choose you. You know, the shock of that is enough to make you fall dead. You know, the shock of that, just that alone, man, it should make you. You know, because you know how people have been taught. A lot of people have low self-esteem. You know what I mean? Got low self-esteem, man. The Creator come along and say, you my number one draft choice. You know? Isn't that the most amazing thing you ever heard of? I could go on and on and on, man, you know? The light reflects how the light, it splits families, societies, and even the individual. OAHSPE describes this in Dan Ha cycles. Old religions and Druids fight the new light, causing division even among loved ones. Ain't that the truth? Is that not the truth, man? In OAHSPE, this dissension is temporary and purposeful. It clears the way for the ultimate universal peace of Jovi's kingdom. The soul that endures the inner war, if you can endure it, man, the tribulation that we have to go through in our life, the misunderstanding from people and families, if you can endure it, man, the soul that endures the inner war rises stronger, while those who cling to darkness fall back. The saying, meaning the saying that we just read, number 13, I think it is, warns that the true path is not comfortable conformity, but the courageous stand for light amid conflict. So you brethren see what we're called to? Saying number 17, Jesus said, I shall give you what no eye has seen, and what no ear has heard, and what no hand has touched, and what has never occurred to the human mind. Okay, now what does that mean? This saying points to the ineffable direct revelation from the Creator, a central promise in OAHSPE for the cosmic era. OAHSPE teaches that Jehovah offers truths and experiences beyond the physical senses and ordinary human conception. Isn't that amazing, man? Isn't that amazing? That is the truth, man, where a faith is, y'all should know what this is talking about, man. You know, the inner witness that we get when we are when we're meditating or thinking on the light, the OAHSPE, when we're thinking on it, there's things that happen to our senses that are indescribable simply because of the knowledge that the Creator has given us. It has an effect on our senses. When he said, what no eye has seen, it talks about the glory of the ethereal worlds. The Bible does not talk about the glory of the ethereal worlds. No book does, at least to my knowledge. The glories of ethereal worlds, the beauty of higher heavens and subtle workings of vortices. When he said, I will give you what no ear has heard, that's talking about the inner voice of Jehovah, the bubbling spring that we talked about in the earlier verse, and the harmonies of angelic choirs and etheria. When he says, I will give you what no hand has touched, it's talking about the eth substance. Spiritual realities transcend corpor. Remember, I was talking the other day about something I learned about the Etherians. The Etherians, the high-raised spiritual beings, the high-raised advanced angels, how they can pull substances out of eth, the rarefied element substance where they live, where they are. They want a vegan root beer milkshake, man. They just pull it out of the elements, man. You know? And you shouldn't be surprised. Remember, we talked about the examples in the OAHSPE, how some of the Ethereal gods, remember we talked about that? You read it yourself, how Serpenta Armage, I think it was, she was fashioning a crown out of eth. I think Fragapati did it, you know, when they were crowning the anointed gods to come after them, and they pulled it out of the eth. And, you know, why is it so strange that they can pull food out of the eth? You know, the Etherians, you know, we pretty much here on the earth, we got to hunt and gather it, you know, go to the grocery store, you know, work to get the money to go and buy it. And, you know, they pull it out of the air, you know. I will give you what no hand has touched. He said, what has never occurred to the human mind. What does that mean? The full cosmic understanding of the all person, the purpose of creation, and the soul's eternal resurrection. How do you like that? The Gospel of Thomas is, man, this is it. The Creator, he withheld it until this time. All anyone can do before the OAHSPE came to open it up was conjecture it. That's all a Christian can do, is conjecture it. That's all he can do, is conjecture it. In OAHSPE, this gift is given to those who seek what gift? All these things here. People who receive what no eye has seen, those who will get what no ear has heard, those who will receive what no hand has touched, those who have never, what has never occurred to the human mind. He says in OAHSPE, this gift is given to those who seek with a pure heart in the new era. It is not hidden knowledge. It's not Gnosticism for the few. It's the open inheritance. All you got to do is just rise in your grade and attune to the ever present light, meaning you basically just seek and go inside yourself and meditate and uh, adopt sincerity. Sincerity, man. You realize you sit yourself down and you think about why you're here, where you're going. You think about the course of the world. You get real with yourself, man. You sit down and you give the creator a chance. You just sit down, man, and give him a chance, man, to break the bondage of darkness. I'm convinced that's what faith is do, man. When he says, I shall give you, oh, hit the wrong button. 1 second here. Delete it. Let's get that back. The I shall give you is Jehovah speaking through the Christ Spirit, the same light that quickens every new soul. I shall give you the same light that quickens every soul. Do you think that you were not quickened? Do you think you did it yourself? Think about that, man. Something happened to us. Something happened to us, man. We ought to think about that. We ought to really think, again, man, I'm sorry. We in the world. And if I'm not mistaken, the creator is getting ready to bring the world to its knees. I'm telling you, man. The creator, I don't know if I want to say the creator, but the world is getting ready to get brought to its knees, man. And if you think I'm joking, man, don't get me started. Y'all don't know. Most of y'all probably don't know. They shut off the other route where oil goes out to the world in the Middle East, man. Hormuz is shut down, Strait of Hormuz, and now the Houthis of Yemen have closed down Bab el-Bab. That's the other side of Saudi Arabia that borders Yemen that they are in conflict with. And the Houthis, the rebel group who live in Yemen, have shut it down. So that Saudi Arabia, there is no way for them to export the world's oil. I think you had 20% coming out of Saudi Arabia and then the rest all over the world. That's where we live. That's where you, brethren, live, man. I ain't hardly BSing you. We in that situation right now. See? Remember in the book of ES, chapter 15, the creator, now, when he said, I will make them look up, I was researching and looking at it. It applied to another time where he had Serpenta Armage blocked the flow of spirits going to false gods in the lower realms. But it show you a principle, man, of how you do not reach human beings until you touch them. Somehow you got to you won't listen. You won't listen, man. We live in a world that will take advantage. You try to. It even says in the OAHSPE, oh, how I wish you would have responded to gentle persuasion rather than me having to bring out the whooping stick. Oh, how I wish you would have responded to gentle persuasion. What God said that? Who was it? I forget which God said that. Oh, how I wish you would have listened to gentle persuasion. And now here we sit. We in a situation, most of the things we use in the world today are byproducts of oil and gas. And now a quarter of the world's supply has been shut off. And we were already on a system that was a just-in-time system. It's like links on a chain, you know. The sprocket, it uses, one link hits the sprocket uses it, and then the next link, just in time. Meaning, if there's a break in the link, man, the whole system suffers. And it could take years for the thing to be restored. That's the situation we're in. That is the situation we're in, man. And you fate this, man. I think that the Creator, I hope it works to where he teaches us a lesson to light our fire, because you're the only ones that are going to have answers. You fate this. You're the only one that's going to be able to, because the world don't have no foundation. I'm telling you, man, the world, it don't have no foundation. They comfortable. They want to keep it that way. They don't want any disturbance to the comfort zone. They will not break with the old traditions. They don't want, that's the way the world is. They can sense when a faith is first open his mouth, man, they sense it. That you are a threat to the comfort zone. You're a threat. And they don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear it, man. And we getting ready to create, the world, the foundations of the world are getting ready to be rocked. And I do mean rocked, man, It could be an open door for faithists that the Creator is going to open. Remember in Revelation, I know it probably has different meanings. Remember? See, I have opened the door and no man can shut it and no man can close it. That could have OAHSPE meaning, where a door will open and the light will go into the world like never before. When people see that their foundation is breaking and they have nowhere to turn, that's a perfect stage for the light to make its entrance. I don't know. We're going to find out. Verse number 18, saying number 18, the disciples said to Jesus, tell us how our end will be. Jesus said, have you then discovered the beginning that you should look for the end? Have you then discovered the beginning that you should look for the end? For where the beginning is, there will the end be. Blessed is he who will take his place in the beginning. He will know the end and will not experience death. The meaning is that, first of all, this is one of the strongest alignments with OAHSPE's core cosmology of eternal resurrection and the circle of life. When he says, have you discovered the beginning? OAHSPE teaches that understanding the origin, meaning Jehovah's quickening of the soul, the creation from Eth, meaning the first spark of life, is the key to everything. The beginning is not a distant past event, but the ever-present moment when Jehovah creates anew in every soul. When he says where the beginning is, there will the end be. In OAHSPE, there is no true end in the sense of annihilation. The end of one cycle or grade flows seamlessly into the next resurrection. The soul that knows this divine beginning meaning oneness with Jehovah, he sees the end is simply another beginning in higher light. When he said, "Blessed is he who will take his place in the beginning, he will know the end and will not experience death." This is pure OAHSPE. The one who aligns with the eternal beginning, living as a fresh, quickened child of Jehovah, transcends the second death. Such a soul rises continuously without the prolonged death of darkness in the lower heavens. It knows the whole circle from quickening to ethereal glory and lives in perpetual resurrection. OAHSPE constantly reminds us, focus on your origin in Jehovah, and the journey, including any apparent end, becomes clear and deathless. So that's talking to us faithists. We know that when we die, that it's not really death. It's only the beginning of our transition into the real life. It should be something we look forward to. I could be wrong, but it should be something we look forward to. I think even in OAHSPE talks about we have it backwards. We rejoice when we're born in the world, and we cry when we leave the earth. And it should be the other way around. I think the OAHSPE says that. We should look forward to leaving the earth, man. A faithist should look forward to that. We should look forward to that, man. Not that you want to hasten the day, you know. You know what I mean? You know, we wait patiently, but in the meantime, redeem the time. You redeem the time. A faithist can redeem the time, man. Redeem. If you're going to be here, if you have to be here, man, click on that link in the video section and send some books to prison. If we have to be here, man, if we have to be here, donate to the Universal Faithists of Cosman. You know, if we got to be here, if we got to be here in this darkness, put an ad in the paper and connect with other faithists. If we got to be here, man, you know, then let's redeem the time. Redeem it, brother. Redeem it, man, you know. Redeem it 100%, man, you know, so that when the Bible, like the Bible says, have y'all ever seen that verse in the Bible? I believe this, man. I believe this. I believe this part of the Bible is true. So that you may receive a full welcome, man. So that you may receive a full welcome, King James Version. I believe this part of the Bible is true. I believe this is true, man. Let me see if I can find it. It says something so that you can receive a full welcome, man, back home where we belong. Now, see, I want to find that, man. Y'all remember that part in the Bible? So see to it, I think it said, see to it that you receive a full welcome. King James Version. Ah, shoot. See to it that you receive a full welcome home when you go home. King James Version. I know that's not it. I don't think even the internet know where it's at. I don't think even it's in the Bible. Where is it at? It's in the Bible. Don't tell me it's not, man. Don't try to hide it. Now I'm going to find it. See to it that you receive a full welcome, King James Version. Oh, ain't that something? I can't even find it. There it is. There it is. There it is. There it is. Oh, nope. This ain't it. This ain't it. If there come any, this is one of the ways that the Bible insulate itself from the light. This is one of the ways. See, this is what Christians use to keep the light out. They use this one of the verses they use. If there come any unto you with the OAHSPE, and they bring not the King James Bible, I'm paraphrasing, receive him not into your house, neither bid him Godspeed. You see how the OAHSPE is shut out? They know this verse, you know. Matter of fact, I had a woman tell me that the other day. Now, this is an amazing thing because I went and clicked on the verse because it said what I wanted. But then when I clicked on it, okay, here it is right here. So evidently, I had to go, let me see. Okay, let me look at the whole chapter. Where is it at? See, now I want that verse. Here it is. Look at there. Look to yourselves that we lose not those things which we have wrought, but that we receive a full reward, man. A full reward, you know. We receive, and now you can see that lets you run wild with your imagination. That's what we got to look forward to. That's what we got to look forward to, you know. Just break with that deity, do battle with the flesh, learn your individuality, you know, redeem the time, give way for meditation and prayer, experience the joy and light, and the journey will not be heavy at all. It will not be heavy in no kind of ways, man, you know. The disciples said to Jesus, "What is the kingdom of heaven like?" What is the kingdom of heaven like? He said to them, "It's like a mustard seed. It's the smallest of all seeds. But when it falls on tilled soil, it produces a big plant and becomes a shelter for birds of the sky." This parable is one of the closest matches to OAHSPE's vision of spiritual growth and the cosmic era. Spiritual growth and the cosmic era. The mustard seed, it represents the small, humble beginning of true light in the individual soul. A single spark of Jehovah's quickening. A single spark. That's how it all began, man. You know? Some of you might not even remember how it happened. A moment of sincere seeking, or the first act of selfless service. Okay, now after 7, I'm ready to close the video. So if anyone wants the mic, just type a 1 when I'm done. And when I go to the chat, I'll bring you on before I close the video. Now it says the smallest of all seeds. kingdom of heaven, the smallest of all seeds. Says in OAHSPE, great things often start tiny and unnoticed. A pure thought, a newborn Essene are the first faithists in a family. The smallest of all seeds. But when it falls on tilled soil, the tilled soil is a prepared heart, humble, open, purified through self-examination and virtuous living. Without this preparation, the seed does not take root. It don't take root, man. That's the lesson of the parable of the seeds. You know, faithism, it fall on some hearts, from what I understand. And the root doesn't go very deep. I mean, the ways of the world are still heavy on that spirit. I'm not saying that we're all 100%, you know, but I do know that the parable is true, or else we would not have been shown it. How the effect of the light, it doesn't run very deep with even a lot of faithless brothers and sisters. It don't really grab hold. A lot of the ways of the world stick to them. From what I have seen, I've seen with my own eyes, you know, things that even the world says like it's wrong. Drinking and smoking. I've seen it with my own eyes. Faithists. Not to say that it's, I mean, you know, from what I read, from what I know in the OAHSPE, you know, drug use, I've seen it with my own eyes. Even though the OAHSPE, it talks about, it condemns that stuff, I've seen it with my own eyes. Faithists, brethren, doing that stuff. Even though the OAHSPE gives a clear warning about what it'll do to your spiritual grade. So I don't look down on them or anybody. I know that my soul gets pricked too, you know. The OAHSPE is no joke, man, you know. The Creator, he cleans out everything. It's like the Bible says, some of us, our sins are open beforehand, going into judgment, and some of us, our sins are hidden, you know. When it produces a big plant and becomes a shelter for birds of the sky. The small beginning grows into a mighty force that provides refuge for many angels, other souls, future generations. In OAHSPE, one awakened soul can become a beacon that shelters multitudes in the heavens and on earth, just as Ethereal hosts shelter and raise nations during new cycles. It becomes a big plant. That's why I believe any effort you brethren do, man, any effort you do while we are on the red star now. I posted something in Facebook where it says, whatever you nurse, it will grow. That includes good works, man. I think if we plant seeds, even though we might not be able to see the fruit, it is going to grow. I believe it, man. OAHSPE teaches that the kingdom of Jehovah grows exactly this way, from tiny individual sparks of light into vast protective heavens of resurrection that cover the world. The mustard seed is the perfect symbol for cosmos, small beginnings yielding universal blessing. Saying number 21, Mary said to Jesus, whom are your disciples like? He said, they're like children who have settled in a field which is not theirs. When the owners of the field come, they will say, let us have our field back. Let us have back our field. They, meaning the faithists, will undress in their presence in order to let them have back their field and give it back to them. Therefore, I say to you, if the owner of the house knows that the thief is coming, he will begin his vigil before he comes and will not let him dig through into his house of his domain to carry away his goods. Then let you be on your guard against the world. Arm yourselves with great strength, lest the robbers find a way. The robbers find a way to come to you, for the difficulty which you expect shall surely materialize. Let there be among you a man of understanding. When the grain ripened, he came quickly with his sickle in his hand and reaped it. Whoever has ears to hear, let him hear. Here's the meaning. This is a strong warning about impermanence, vigilance, and timely action, central to OAHSPE's teachings on grades and cycles. When it says the children, the disciples as children in a field which is not theirs, it means souls temporarily in the corporeal world. The field belongs to Jehovah. At death or cycle's end, we must undress, release attachments to the body and material things, and return what is not ours. When it says the vigilant house owner guarding against the thief, OAHSPE urges constant watchfulness against Druges. Constant watchfulness. He's talking to faithists. Constant watchfulness against Druges, lower influences, and self-deception. The robbers are the forces that steal light if we are unprepared. The robbers steal light, lower your spiritual grade. Things that steal, lower your spiritual grade are robbers. The man who reaps the ripened grain quickly, the wise soul acts promptly, quickly, when the harvest, the opportunity for resurrection, or a Danha cycle, or personal awakening is ready. Delay causes loss. So the light comes to you, you receive it, you get to work immediately, believing, bearing fruit. Quickly, he immediately puts in the sickle. He reaps the grain quickly. OAHSPE's message: live as temporary stewards in this world. Stay vigilant. Release attachments at the right time and harvest the light the moment it ripens. Those with ears to hear, suists understand and act. This is practical cosmic wisdom for navigating the end of old cycles and the birth of the new. Saying number 22. Jesus saw infants being suckled. He said to his disciples, these infants being suckled are like those who entered the kingdom. They said to him, shall we then as children enter the kingdom? Jesus said to them, when you make the two one, when you make the outside like the inside, when you make the inside like the outside, and the outside like the inside, and the above like the below, and when you make the male and the female one and the same, so that the male not be male, nor the female female, when you fashion eyes in the place of an eye, and a hand in the place of a hand, and a foot in the place of a foot, and a likeness in place of a likeness, then you will enter the kingdom. This is one of the deepest sayings, and it aligns extremely well with OAHSPE's teaching on unity, resurrection, and androgynous divine behavior. Infants being suckled, meaning pure, the kingdom of heaven is like infants being suckled. Jesus saw infants being suckled. He said to his disciples, these infants being suckled are like those who enter the kingdom, meaning the pure, innocent, newly quickened soul closest to Jehovah. OAHSPE says the newborn spirit or childlike soul enters the higher light most easily when you make the two one. The central OAHSPE idea: reunite the dual self, the spirit, corporate, male and female qualities, inner and outer. The soul must become whole again as it was in its divine origin. When you make the inside like the outside, the above like the below, male and female one. Perfect harmony between the seen and the unseen. The physical and spiritual. Jehovah is both father and mother. The perfected soul transcends rigid gender distinctions and embodies balanced divine qualities. This is the androgynous idea in the higher heavens. How do you like that? Both male and female, perfectly. You know, you just think, yeah. Fashion eyes in place of an eye. Spiritual sight, suis, replacing limited mortal perception. New capacities, replacing the old. The soul is remade in Jehovah's image. In OAHSPE, entering the kingdom means achieving this unity and wholeness, rising above duality on into oneness with the all person. Only the childlike integrated soul attains it. This is the goal of resurrection, becoming one balanced, fully alive in Jehovah. All right. That makes sense, man. That really, I mean, the childlike, we have to become childlike. So we see now what the Jesus of the New Testament meant, for such are the kingdom of heaven, becoming childlike. All right, I'm gonna end it right there. Go to the chat, greet everyone, and then I'm gonna close the video and pick up next week with the remaining verses translating the Gospel of Thomas. Let's see if anyone is in the chat. And all right, a few of you are here. All right. So, brethren, thank you for joining me. Nazarene, Brother Dwayne was here. Black Nino Macalini. Greetings, brother. Brother Gabriel was in here. Greetings, brother. Trisha. Greetings. Brother Elijah. Yes, Brother Prince, he was in here. Man, Dwayne said the light split his marriage. That's heavy stuff, man. All right. So, brethren, thank you for joining me. I want to again encourage you, brethren, to remember the Universal Faithist of Cosmin, the website. You can support the ministry. We are ready to make some big moves, man, with the full page ad in the Cincinnati Enquirer at the end of August. I say that to encourage anybody brethren to do the same in an effort to connect with other faiths. I also direct your attention to the comment section of the video here. The books, the prison ministry, man. Just so many ways we can redeem the time, man. There's so many ways that we can make ourselves ready for the real birth. We're going to be on the earth anyway until we leave. We might as well redeem the time, especially since we're the only ones who can do it. And so I believe that that will be it for right now. I again want to tell us that the situation in the world is very perilous. And I trust and pray the Creator will sustain all of us in the time that we are going through, where I believe He's going to teach the world to put the world in its place, put it in its proper perspective. And so, Jehovah, thank you for this opportunity to have this video and to share. Try to be a light while I'm in this reality. I pray for my brethren, for their individual needs, and that we can redeem the time while we're on the earth. We see the direction the world is going in. I just pray that if it has to be this way, that you would just open the door for us to show the world that there's a much better reality waiting for anyone who is willing, as long as they are only willing, Jehovah. Thank you for this opportunity for my brethren. I pray that you will grant us the wisdom and knowledge, the peace, wisdom, knowledge to spread the light as best we can while we're on the earth. Jehovah, please, I thank you in your name. I pray, so let it be. All right, brethren, thank you for joining me. And until I see you again, I don't think Wednesday I don't think they're going to have a study. So probably Friday then. I'll see you Friday, Creator willing. So again, thank you for joining me, and peace be unto you. Shalom.